Hello to everyone and welcome to series of WAIPA short interviews with representatives of investment promotion agencies. My name is Bostjan Skalar and I'm the Executive Director of World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, shortly called WAIPA. So the purpose of these interviews is to get an overview how IPAs all around the world are responding to COVID-19 crisis, also what comes together with the COVID-19 crisis and what measures they are taking and what actions, especially this is the most important, are planning for the post-COVID-19 era. And today is my real sincere pleasure to have with me Dr. Erkam Tüzgen, Secretary General of Istanbul Development Agency. So let me go immediately to the first question. So what is the current situation in Istanbul and what measures are being taken to alleviate the impact of COVID-19 in general, but especially, of course, I would like to hear from the city IPA perspective, which Istanbul Development Agency is. So, Mr. Tüzgen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. On behalf of people of the Istanbul, I'm saluting you all. Merhaba from Istanbul. Governments across the world have undertaken wide-ranging measures to combat the negative economic effects of COVID-19 crisis. According to the latest OECD projections, global FDI is expected to decline sharply in 2020. Besides the dramatic health and social implications, the COVID-19 crisis has caused severe economic disruptions. The IMF foresees a 3% global contraction and the OECD a loss of 2 percentage points in annual GDP growth for each month of containment. The recession is also going to affect, of course, global FDI flows. Speaking about Turkey, Turkey's success in its fight against the coronavirus pandemic continues receiving acclaim worldwide. The latest appraisal came from Britain's prominent financial magazine, The Economist, as an article underlined that Turkey has handled the pandemic better than many of its European and American allies. Let's give an example of Turkish government precautions. For instance, rather than placing the whole economy in a coma, the authorities ordered the children and the elderly to stay home and asked everyone else to show up for work. Biggest cities were placed under a blanket curfew on weekends and holidays. And Turkey's strategy seems to have worked. Turkey has launched also a 21-point stimulus package named Economic Stability Shield, worth $15.4 billion to tackle the coronavirus pandemic and cut interest rates by 100 basis points. In addition, Turkey has pledged a series of measurements relating to fiscal policy, comprising tax breaks, deferrals, along with credit guarantees and delays in loan repayments. Moreover, in order to prevent the rise of unemployment, Turkish government has pledged to cover the salaries of around 3 million employees working in more than 250,000 firms. Up until end of this month, October, this was a huge and successful step to bail out most of the business.
Great. So looks like that it's a pretty positive story. I must say, as we are also based in Istanbul, that I definitely must agree with you. And that although, of course, everywhere the numbers are increasing, it still looks like pretty positive and at least economy is moving, which I believe investors are more than appreciating.
Thankfully.
Let's say. So let me go to the next question. So you are a leader of an IPA. It's especially interesting for our listeners, I'm sure, because this is a city IPA. It's not like a national IPA, but city IPA. So what do you think? Will the field of investment promotion be shaped? How will be this field of investment promotion shaped in the long term? And why may, for example, IPAs take this pandemic, let's say, as an opportunity rather than a problem, opportunity, let's say, to revisit the strategies, maybe to make their organizations more lean or maybe change, let's say, the sector prioritization. So whatever you would like actually to share with us, please go ahead.
Okay. FDI attraction and retention can be part of an assisting solution and support of economic recovery. Multinationals are responsible for a large share of global value added, trade, employment, and research and development. Foreign direct investment can also have potentially important direct and indirect effects on the local economy, including by generating jobs and facilitating access to foreign inputs, goods and services, and also knowledge. Multinationals also tend to be larger, more productive, and research and development intensive than purely domestic firms. As such, they are well positioned to help governments deal with the effects of pandemic. IPAs can facilitate such business relations. As stated in WAIPA's reports, the spread of coronavirus is now the main concern across the globe. It shaped the way we perform our everyday activities and caused major disruptions in global economy, flows of investment, global value chains, and many more. Putting the pandemic under control requires effective actions by governments, individuals, and also businesses. As with many other organizations, investment promotion agencies have had to switch to remote working arrangements and face various organizational, IT, and management challenges. For IPAs, this has meant canceling in-person investor visits, events, fairs, and missions, which have been a critical component of image building and lead generation efforts. So IPAs are providing COVID-19 related information via their websites and switching immediately to digital tools and solutions, among other changes. As stated in the OECD report on IPAs, the nature of services provided by IPAs has changed radically by shifting away from marketing to intensive aftercare. While IPAs are immediately and significantly scaling down their communications and marketing activities, focus is now given to engaging and maintaining contact with existing investors, informing them about government programs, helping them to cope with the crisis, and supporting their ongoing investment or operations, and are the IPA's immediate priorities. Business continuity and a problem-solving approach are becoming the main drivers of IPA's actions. Besides all those I mentioned, I would also like to emphasize that IPAs should be assisting businesses in accessing public support funds during these strange times, contacting the existing investors and businesses, and gathering information regarding the issues they are facing, and working with both local and central governments to adequately address those issues can be listed as other duties of IPAs. Moreover, IPAs should reconsider their prioritization strategies in the medium to long run. Changed economic dynamics may push IPAs to revise the list of prioritized sectors, making us more focused and altering the sectoral mix. Digitalization of services and related sectors will most probably the most prioritized sectors in this cycle.
You mentioned already that there are a lot of changes, and we made a short survey, for example, seeing even that some IPAs, because of course, governments, as you mentioned before, are putting enormous efforts also through financial means to support, let's say, current businesses to, let's say, mitigate this risk of pandemic negative impact. And then many IPAs are under the threat of even being decreased with the budgets. Some of them even like, are they needed to be existing still? Maybe they need to be shut down. So I would like to hear shortly your perspective, because we believe, and we also proved this through our researches and also through this World Bank WAIPA report that was just now the global IPA survey, that IPAs are more than ever needed actually to support governments and on the other side investors. So I would like to hear your perspective on this topic.
Mm-hmm. IPAs have a huge database of investors who already visited their offices and established their businesses in their respective countries and regions, organizing site visits, interviewing these international investors, collecting information, and invaluable business experiences IPAs can create, and that's an important input for central governments, which needs to make laws and regulations in favor of businesses. This is what we are doing right now in Istanbul also. We have kicked off a series of site visits. We are interviewing international business people and hear their voice in this Corona time. Moreover, in such times, IPAs should consider themselves as collaborative counterparts rather than seeing themselves as rivals. Signing MOUs to stimulate the flow of FDI will be beneficial for both sides, we hope. In this regard, we have signed an MOU with Bahrain Economic Development Board, and our goal is to increase the volume of investment and increase the number of international entrepreneurs. Seeking to build on the growing innovation landscape in Bahrain and Turkey, this new agreement offers a platform for entrepreneurs to network, collaborate and scale their business on a regional level. And according to the areas of cooperation between the two entities would include the provision of co-working spaces, logistics supports, access to wider startup ecosystem, mentorship, talent, funding, and potential partners. Additionally, the MOU looks at the other business setup services to ensure a smooth transition for startups between both markets.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you are touching upon already a bit on my last question, which is, let's say, I would like to speak a bit more about your agenda now, especially, of course, if you would like to share with us a bit more, some insights on what you are focusing right now, but I would say with the connection of the future. So what would really, because I'm sure everyone now has a mandate to try to understand what the future will bring and how we will respond to the future challenges. So go ahead.
First, I would like to add one more point to the previous question, importance of cooperation with other institutions, especially how IPAs should cooperate with national IPAs, regional IPAs should cooperate with national IPAs. How we work with Invest in Turkey is that our national IPA, Invest in Turkey, is responsible for organizing roadshows and convincing international business people to set up their business in Turkey. Mm-hmm. If their choice is Turkey, Istanbul, then we step in and accompany these business people while establishing their businesses and completing the bureaucratic steps.
So I hear here the good coordination, obviously, which we are always looking forward, actually. It's a great achievement if national and sub-national agency can properly coordinate.
Thankfully, we are good at it right now, and we have more plans to develop it better. And in addition to this, national IPAs mostly focus on the large-scale investments. Mm-hmm. Invest in Istanbul now focuses on international startups, which are prospective unicorns. We have. In this scope, we have started a new chapter about cooperating with various startup ecosystems. We would like to offer Istanbul's advantages and opportunities to access to a market of $30 trillion and 1.6 billion people within a only 4-hour flight range from Istanbul. Istanbul always welcomes international startups and embraces them. And our ecosystem stakeholders, who are also our partners in this journey, are offering a lot of programs, acceleration programs, mentorship programs, globalization programs, and so on. As of 2020 summer, there are 157 stakeholders involving technological development zones, accelerators, funds, incubators, co-working spaces, mentorship organizations, and so on. In the last 10 years, we have witnessed 120 exits in Istanbul. Last June, Istanbul-based Peak Games was acquired by the American game developer Zynga with a record of $1.8 billion, which marked the first unicorn of Turkey. In Europe, last year's 3 out of 10 venture capital-backed exits were realized in Istanbul. The rate of women entrepreneurs is 16%, which puts us on the 4th spot in Europe. Fintech consisted of the most deals last year. There had been 17 deals, whereas grocery delivery attracted most investment in volume, $38 million. Funded by the Istanbul Development Agency, we are ready to welcome international entrepreneurs and involve them in our globalization programs such as InnoGate program by Istanbul Technical University, IQ program by Istanbul University, Win Global by Commercialization Center of Istanbul, and SU Globe by Sabancı University, and many others. Istanbul is a world-class city of opportunities now, and competing successfully as one of the world's top investment destinations. Right after the establishment of Invest in Istanbul office in 2017, Turkey has jumped 36 ladders and found itself on the 33rd spot in Doing Business Index of the World Bank. Turkey has not been the top improver in the world last 2 years. So now starting the business in Istanbul is easier than ever.
What I'm glad to hear is, you know, everyone is speaking on the, let's say, digitalization, on the new technologies, new ways of business, new ways of investments. And what I hear from you is Istanbul is more than ready, especially to attract, let's say, entrepreneurs, to attract the people who are bringing the high-end, let's say, products, new technologies. And the infrastructure is obviously more than ready to, let's say, apply all these new technologies and everything, and to assist the potential investors to come and to invest into Istanbul or wider in Turkey, of course.
We hope we will hear more exits, especially in game business, game sector, before end of this year, which will be more than hundreds of millions.
Actually, I really appreciated all these insights that you shared with our listeners or our viewers, because what we believe is it's cooperation. So especially the colleagues from IPAs, they like to hear from their peer colleagues. They like to see their challenges, their views. And this is how we as a community, FDI community, can function better and be ready for the, let's say, new normal, as so many times heard. So thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to have an interview with you, and I'm sure the listeners and the viewers would also enjoy listening and watching this video. So let me allow at the end to thank you all who will be listening or watching this video. And please do follow us on our social media, visit our webpage, check our newest, let's say, issued reports, especially, let's say, the Global IPA report in cooperation with the World Bank, where you can find all relevant information, what IPAs are doing, what's their current status, and what is their priority for the future to address the obvious challenges of the pandemic. So please stay tuned, and WAIPA is always here to assist you in any kind of ways. So thank you, Mr. Tüzgen, again, and I wish you stay healthy and safe, and the same active as you've been explaining to us now.
Thank you, Mr. Skalar, for inviting me and letting me share what we do and our views about the IPA world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.